Okay, continuing with number 17. In problem number 17, you're given an x value and a y value, and you're being asked to find sine of theta, which is represented as the y coordinate over the r value, or the hypotenuse, as it's going to be when you draw this. You'll see that the r is the hypotenuse, which we don't have, so I'm actually going to draw this for you. 912 would be, let's say you're 9 out, and then 12 units on your y-axis. That would represent this point right here. So that would be your hypotenuse, which I'm calling the r value. Drop down to the x-axis, and you form yourself a right triangle. So from here to here is the 9. That's one of your legs. From here to here is the height, which is the 12. And by Pythagorean theorem, you can get the r value. So it's r squared, hypotenuse squared, is equal to leg squared plus the other leg squared. So that's 81 plus 144. If you add these, you get 225. That's your radius squared. And then to get the radius, you have to take the square root of both sides. That gives you r is equal to 15. Okay, so this value is 15. And now you can finally finish the problem to calculate the sine of theta. By the way, this is the theta. And as you stand right here on theta, you could even use your SOHCAHTOA to remember how to get the sine value, which would just be opposite over hypotenuse. Or as I stated here, y over r, same thing. So the y is the 12, the value that runs vertically like a y-axis, and then the r is the hypotenuse. Don't forget to reduce. 3 goes into both of these, into the top 4 times and into the bottom 5 times. So that's your final answer. Okay, problem 18, same type of problem. You're just in a different quadrant. So this time you start with -4, -5, and you're asked to calculate the tan value. Now, I would tell you to construct a triangle the way I did here, but I would only do that if you needed the hypotenuse, and I actually don't need that because tangent is just y over x, and you actually have both of those pieces already. So y value is the -5, the x value is the -4, so your tan value, since the negatives cancel, 5/4. Always give an exact answer unless it says round to a particular place. Okay, number 19. Number 19, again, you are given an x coordinate and a y coordinate. Just a little more complicated because of the radical, but not much. Just have to know a little bit more algebra. Okay, you've been asked to find the tan value again. And as stated, T is just the angle that we're calling it for a point on the circle. But it's tan is always defined as the y coordinate over the x coordinate, and you already have both of those. So this is kind of just an exercise in seeing whether you know the right arithmetic of how to simplify it. So it's y divided by x. And when you're dealing with fractions and trying to do division, it's top divided by bottom, or top times the reciprocal, which is equivalent to division. So that means you've floated it up here, created the reciprocal, and this is no longer here. Okay, in this case, when you multiply, this 8 in the denominator would cancel with this 8 in the numerator, and your answer would be square root of 55 over 3. Okay, there's your final answer there. Problem number 20 is cosecant of -90. So you're at what's called a quadrantal angle. You're not in any of the quadrants, you're right on an axis. So remember, when we rotate in a negative fashion, then instead of rotating this way, we rotate clockwise. So if you're rotating this way right here, this is 90 degrees, but negative 90 degrees because of the way I rotated from the 0 degree mark. The coordinates here, assuming that you're in a unit circle, would be 0 for your x coordinate, and then you would be -1 down on the y coordinate. That's if you're in a unit circle where the radii are 1, whether you go this way, left, or if you go down. Okay, so now doing the cosecant, you have to know the definition for any value that they've asked you to calculate. So for tan, it was y over x. For sine, it was y over r. And cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. And if sine is y over r, then this is r over y. So the radius here, since you're in a unit circle, is 1. And the y value is -1. So your cosecant value is -1. Okay, and that completes 17 through 20.